Okay, welcome back. Um, just want to expand on a couple things from the last video. One thing to note, if during combat, if you have two or more successes, that creates a critical hit. If you have, so the single success is a hit, the second success is a critical hit, does an extra point of damage, and you take a roll on the critical hit table. If you have a total of three successes, that means you have two additional points of damage above the base damage. Plus, you also get two rolls on the critical damage table, and then you get to pick which roll you choose or which critical injury that you choose. So you could either choose to, essentially pull your punch and do lesser amount of damage, or you can choose to invoke a much more serious critical injury. So that's a brief note. Another note is on ranged weapons. If we look at the ranged weapons, you will notice that there is, under the features, let's, don't let me expand this, but if we look at, there is two range increments. There is a short and long. For instance, this is short and long. So that means this range for this particular weapon in this particular round is between short and long. If you are engaged range, you are outside of the useful distance, so you are firing at disadvantage. If you're at extreme range, you are outside the range and firing at disadvantage. So in each weapon is slightly different. There can be the typical blaster. You have a short and medium. You also have the short and medium on the sonic round, and you have a medium and long for the 222 rifle round. So on your combat sheet, for instance, let's drop the blaster back in this guy here. So when you make a combat action, you'll notice that it only lists here one range increment. So we have to be careful that we pay attention to what the essentially the close range is, because this is listing the longer range of the two. So that's just another general note. So then the next thing I want to talk about is chases. You can have foot chases, you can have vehicular chases, as well as you can also have aerial vehicular chases, because your Detective Spinner Special, which is a vehicle, is a flying vehicle. And chases work by simultaneously drawing and revealing cards as to what the chase maneuver that you wish to perform is. So let's take a quick look at what that means. So if we go back to combat and chases, we can go to chases here. So when you start the chase, it means someone runs away and leaves the map, and then you can choose to attempt to catch him as the pursuer, or you can choose to run away as the prey. And the way it works is you start at a certain range category. So say you start at medium, up to long. You can start at short, medium, long. You can even, but you can't start at extreme. And the chase ends in one of two ways. If the distance between the prey and the pursuer gets to be greater than extreme, so if you then the prey has escaped. If the range is reduced to engaged, in that case, you're back into a combat situation. There is one exception to that. Say you are the pursuer and you actually manage to close the distance to engage, but you were actually able to overtake him. So you can actually kind of hit engaged and they'll go past him and go back to short range. So in this case, potentially you would become the prey. So there's a number of different choices that you can make on the cards. And some of them are only available to pursuer, some of them are only available to prey. So, for instance, here, so the pursue and flee is available to pursuer and prey. It requires a mobility or a driving roll, and that is an attempt to, as prey, to increase the distance from your pursuer, or as pursuer to try to close the distance. If you are the prey, you can attempt to hide. You have disadvantage if you are at medium range or closer, and that's essentially a stealth versus observation roll. If you are the prey, you can also attempt to block. This is an attempt to, put something in between you and the pursuer. So you knock over a food cart, something in that forces the pursuer to have to try to engage with, to push out of the way, jump over, or something like that. The pursuer has a ability to try a cut-off maneuver. And the way the cut-off maneuver works is you are chasing someone through a series of back alleys, and you think you know a shortcut based upon the way it goes. You're going to attempt to cut off your prey and immediately enter engaged range. And again, that's a mobility versus mobility roll. But you do have disadvantage if you are at long or extreme range on that roll. You can also, either as the pursuer or prey, stand and shoot. So you actually make a ranged attack on either the pursuer or the prey, or you do something else. So we can give you a quick example of that. So I am going to pull you guys to another scene, and I'll talk about that in a second. So hold on. Okay. So what I have here is kind of an abstracted zone range map. So there's a number of concentric rings which correspond to the distance between pursuer, so we'll call Demo the pursuer in this case, and the prey, which is our corporate killer. And so we have engaged, short range, medium, long, and extreme range. So in this case, the corporate killer is attempting to escape, and he starts at medium range. So now what we need to do is we now will start what is called a simultaneous card. And we will assign a card deck to each of the participants, which will pop up a little dialogue box for you guys. So there's the corporate killer who is running away, and Demo who is trying to catch him. You click on the cards, and it gives you the list of things that you can do. So you have the pursue, flee, cut off, stand and shoot, or other. So we'll say in this case he's going to take the pursue card. Simultaneously, who's running the game is going to choose a card for the prey. And as you can see, there's a ready to validate. You can validate choices, and then you can reveal the choices. However, there's one other little twist. There is a rollable table that is available to me, which is currently hidden, which is chase obstacles. And so then I would roll a random chase obstacle, and that will actually take and potentially affect the maneuver that you are attempting. Some of the chase obstacles may cause some sort of harm, or potentially to either the pursuer or the prey, which might actually require you to cancel your maneuver. I'm going to leave those as surprises for now, so I'm not going to reveal that. So I'm just going to reveal all the cards. And so in this case here, both the Demo and our corporate killer, who is currently anonymous, chose the pursue and the flee. So Demo is going to make a mobility roll. And so they rolled one success. Likewise, I am going to make a mobility roll for the Corporate Killer. In this case, there is 0 successes, which means the range increment has been reduced by 1. So the Corporate Killer will now be from short range from demo. And now we get to try that again. Fortunately, it's maneuver. It's a little. I have to redo this every time, so it might get a little clunky, but we can start again. So in this case, demo is going to say, okay, I'm going to continue pursuing and fleeing, and Corporate Killer is going to choose his own card. So he's going to choose a card. Again, we say, okay, you ready to go? We validate our choices, and then we reveal. So I, as the Corporate Killer, have attempted the block maneuver. Which again, so if we look and we zoom in here, apparently I can't zoom in. Aha. So it is a roll to. So it's basically, the effect, it increases the range by 1. It increases the range 1 step. Pursuer must roll a force, driving, or cancel their maneuver. So this says, okay, so I'm going to increase the range to medium. And now demo needs to make a force roll. So I'm going to make a force roll. So you had 1 success. So you do not have to cancel your maneuver, but you do still need to make a mobility roll to see if you manage to close the gap. And in this case, no successes, so you failed to close the gap. And so again, this would go on until your range either becomes engaged or one of you gets further away and actually gets outside of the extreme range. And again, this can be done on foot, this can be done in cars, and this can also be done in flying cars. So it's an interesting mechanic, and I hope it will be kind of fun and interesting to play, and be somewhat engaging. So that is it for this video, and next one, I'll figure out what the next one is going to be and let everyone know. Thank you, and good night.